Chapter 4. You dare to refuse my orders?
Alpha, if you believe she is innocent, then why did you reject her?
The lead bodyguard Godic asked.
Alpha Denzel's expression turned dark with a dull bitterness.
His throat faltered, and his tone was flat.
My rejection of her has nothing to do with you.
Godic thought for a while. As if hit by lightning, he exclaimed, Alpha, I remember her from. Shut the fuck up.
I am going to the pack. Alpha Denzel seemed enraged about recollection of the past, instantly cutting him off.
Calming down a little, he addressed the 3 men before him. You guys should get to the Yellowstone pack and spy on them. Report all of Alpha Tristan's movements to me.
Yes, Alpha, Godic responded.
Ever since the Alpha rejected Luna Valerie, his bad temper seemed to have worsened.
They weren't there, but the news spread like wildfire, even to those who were away from the pack.
It was all because Luna Valerie, though proud, was a very smart woman and a skillful warrior. Indeed, why would she stoop so low to have an affair the same night her mate marked her? Alpha Denzel dropped the cigar in the ashtray, marching to his secretary's office.
The offices in the casino were all soundproof.
Also, his human secretary was allergic to smoke, so for courtesy's sake, he wouldn't smoke in her presence.
Thus, Alpha Denzel was not totally heartless, but the only problem was, it was very easy for people to mistake his thoughtfulness for other things, especially considering his perfect masculine looks.
Cordelia, cancel all my appointments for the next 3 days.
Alpha Denzel's tone was hasty, and the secretary was confused. Her boss was fearful because of his domineering aura, but she loved it best when he was around, as none of the dons would dare to disrespect her. She had eyes on her boss, but sadly, all she ever saw in his eyes was aloofness. But sir, what about Don Sanyo? His secretary called twice to confirm the meeting tomorrow. She hoped that this very important meeting would make him change his mind. Alpha Denzel had this all planned. He had wanted to close a few deals before launching his attack.
However, the news about his caged bird wanting to die-cast his throat to strangely tighten.
Then you should call now and inform her about the change of plans.
Update him on everything that happens in my absence.
Alpha Denzel was already on his way out of the office after saying those words. His displeased secretary was not ready to let him off since he just returned from a trip 2 days ago.
Mostly, she was kept in the dark about his personal life and had never even had the privilege of visiting his Las Vegas manor.
Her seductive voice cut through his ears before he reached the door. Yes, sir? But where are you going? Alpha Denzel seemed irritated by the question and not bothering to turn around. His cold voice rang. Why, you wanna come? Cordelia's face turned ashen, and she quickly lowered her head.
Sorry,
IW is just asking. Appy Parisi operate tridordrid sayo seeded etwe. I it sire. Nairi eslet with hope, but was soon dimmed. If you can't reach me by call, send an email or text message. Alpha Denzel left after that.
Driving out of the casino parking lot, he reached where his chopper was waiting for him.
Flying it to the Evergreen Pack, he landed far enough from where anyone would notice before shifting into wolf form.
A black beast sped through the woods. After almost an hour and half of a fierce run, he arrived at the gate of the Evergreen Pack's warriors at the gate corked for a moment before quickly giving him clothes to wear.
They always prepared for such instances.
A shift from human to wolf form would cause the clothes to shred into pieces, so arrangements were made to keep clothes at vantage points, especially at the 60 Alpha. You are welcome. The warriors greeted. Alpha Denzel nodded his head as he put on the casual clothes of plain blue jeans and a plain white round neck shirt. After putting them on, he strutted to the pack house. It was quite a distance from the pack gate, but since he had travelled from the chopper to the pack in wolf form, his body was not tired, except for his wolf. He had spent a total of 9 hours on the journey and had to also be at the Yellowstone pack in 2 hours. It was already 2:00 in the morning. Alpha Denzel always parked his chopper about 10 miles from the pack to escape any of his enemies who might be tracking or stalking him from McKinget to the pack. He would usually walk deep into the woods, ensuring that there was no one in sight by the use of his senses before shifting into wolf form. Some of the warriors were patrolling the pack, close to the pack house when he arrived. Everything was in order without a hint that the Alpha was away.
They were surprised to see him since he had recently brought Valerie and left immediately after leaving instructions.
Whenever Alpha Denzel left the pack, it took at least 2 weeks before his return. Alpha, the pack is peaceful, one of the warriors on patrol greeted, afraid they must have heard false news that the pack was in trouble.
Peter, dear,
he asked swiftly. The warrior smiled. Inside the pack house, she must be sleeping now.
Alpha Denzel popped his head in understanding.
If Adira was sleeping, then it meant she must have been busy throughout the day. Standing in front of the beater's chamber, he knocked on Adira's door.
Come out and bring her food.
Adira was just giving into sleep, but the sound of the voice caused her to jolt out of her slumber. Excitement filled her heart, though saddened that the Alpha had made this emergency trip for the vile woman, Valerie.
Adira put on a pair of black pants and a black shirt. Since Alpha Denzel always liked and wore black, rushing down to the kitchen, she quickly began to prepare noodles. To impress Alpha Denzel, she didn't want to call the Omegas to prepare the food for Valerie. Seeing that Alpha Denzel had not changed from his emergency clothes, she felt might stay longer.
You must be hungry. I'll make you an extra plate.
For Adira before, forget about me.
Just make it for her. He brought out a pack of citrate, pulled one out and lit it. Walking to the balcony, his hawk-like dark eyes permeated the environment, glad that everywhere was peaceful and quiet.
Adira was saddened but forced a smile all through the cooking.
This wasn't the first time Alpha Denzel rejected her kindness. Most of the time, he would even prefer to cook for himself than to allow any she-wolf to touch his food.
A few minutes passed, and she dished out the hot steaming noodles into a foot warmer.
Alpha, it's ready.
Alpha Denzel turned around and nodded his head. Good, let's go.
Adira followed him to where Valerie was.
She was asleep, but the force that pushed the door open caused her to jolt awake from her sleep.
The sound of heavy footsteps caused her to shiver, as the air and the scent in the room changed.
She was already mind-linking her wolf for some comfort before remembering that her wolf had died.
You dare to refuse my orders?
Alpha Denzel's few words carried great warning, as his dark gaze pierced through her soul.
He looked pissed.